Hello everyone, and welcome to my reaction video of the brand new 14th Street bus lane in Midtown Manhattan. So if you aren't aware, or maybe you've been lost in a loop or something, seems that Polly Trottenberg, our wonderful DOT commissioner, screwed us again. Not in Queens, but this time on a major thoroughfare in Midtown Manhattan. And remember when I keep saying about this woman, folks, if Park Slope and Lower Manhattan get preferential treatment because of that demographic that Bill de Blasio wants to keep targeting. So, Polly Trottenberg gave the big finger, not going to say what it was, but she gave the big finger up to Midtown Manhattan and said, sorry, I'm just going to make the traffic worse and put a bus lane on 14th Street. So in this video, I'm going to be reading two articles. I'm going to be reading the press release. The press release really wasn't specific from the MTA, but there was a more specific article from AM New York written by a very good transit reporter, Vincent Perrone, who I highly recommend you read his work because he was the one who actually broke the story about the L train, which I did read that in my plan work video last week. I wanted to read that because, of course, that was important because I wanted you all to know what was going on. I'm glad they're getting it done a few months early, but we're staying on topic. And before I read the press releases, I just want to mention one thing, that I'm going to definitely check out this bus lane for myself in November. I'm going to do it on the week of my birthday. I'm going to aim to do it on Tuesday, November 5th. Yeah, that's Tuesday, right. Now I got the date right. Yeah, so that's my ideal date when I'm going to check this out. And I'm also going to do a summit somewhere. Not going to spoil where, but I'll bring everything up for November on the 4th next month. But let's stay on topic and talk about this crazy bus lane that Polly Trottenberg decided to do. So here we go. New York City Department of Finance upgrades fines to grad fee structure to heighten awareness of repeat bus blockers. New automated enforcement system will expand into B44 and M14 select bus routes this fall. I also mentioned, and I want to thank Gridlock Sam for bringing this up. I couldn't really put the PDF in because I think it was pointless, but they're actually going to start the same enforcement along the Q58 on Fresh Pond Road in Ridgewood. And again, this is why I have to go to Ridgewood this month. I have to keep exposing this corruption from the DOT. It's not just in Queens, folks, it's also in Manhattan. And this is the proof right here. But once again, and I said this earlier, you know who Polly Trottenberg's only looking out for. So let's read this article. So the headline says, MTA announces updated fine structure for bus lane violations using new mounted camera technology. So the program is actually starting today. So Gridlock Sam Schwartz in the Daily News also mentioned it was today in Midtown and also today in Ridgewood along the Q58 bus route that goes along Fresh Pond Road in Ridgewood. So, keeping in mind, not that many people are going to tell you that they might enforce that bus lane between Elliott Road and Metropolitan Avenue where Fresh Pond Road is. Because remember, the Q38, when it goes to Corona, it has to make that run. So, think about that. Okay. So, New York City Transit announced that the fines associated with bus lane violations captured using a new automated bus mounted camera system would be subject to a new grad suit fee structure starting at $50 and going up to $250 for repeat. Sorry about that, folks. I hear kids in the background, so I'll get my train of thought once I walk past these kids, because I'm walking past the preschool right now in Francis Lewis. So I'll get my train of thought back. Okay. So pretty much, if you're in this bus lane and you're blocking it, they'll start charging you $50 for a ticket, and then it goes up to $250 for repeat bus blockers. So I'm assuming the same thing is probably going to imply once we get into Queens, because again, it's coming on Fresh Pond Road. And by the way, I'm just walking past 38th Avenue. I'm gonna have to do an update because the construction's getting worse once again. So I have to make a separate video when I'm walking back, because I'm still not on my shift yet. I don't have to clock in until 11 o'clock, so I have time to run my errands along Francis Lewis. So pretty much the new program where you're caught on the bus lane or you're blocking the bus lane, enforcement will start today. So if you're caught today and you're a first-time offender, you're going to be charged $50. And also keeping in mind, they're not allowing trucks and buses to go along 14th Street between 3rd and 9th Avenue every day from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. So imagine that. Imagine that, folks. So once again, and you know how I feel about this, it's Pal the Trottenberg once again doing all the dirty work. So I'm going to go into more specifics. So motorists who block bus lanes during the initial 60-day grace period are issued a warning, which does not carry a fine. After the grace period ends, motorists who continue to block bus lanes will be subject to a fine of $50 for the first violation. And for additional violations within a 12-month period, $100 for a second offense, $150 for a third offense, $200 for a fourth offense, and $250 for a fifth violation. So each violation also carries $25 late fee. But again, this is what I don't understand. This is like a beta of what congestion pricing is going to be. All right, and again, congestion pricing is supposed to be a tool, and again, to let people know, stop driving in Manhattan because you're making the traffic worse. And again, I know the whole situation about Canal Street, but I'm telling you, folks, I got a bad feeling Canal Street's going to be next. Like, my gut is telling me Trottenbergs just going to screw over Canal Street in Lower Manhattan. Because the way things look, that's how things are going to end up in the future, I think. So I'm not really going to go more into this article. So I want to go into Vincent Barone's article from AM New York. So once again, the bus lane is starting today. So again, if you are on 14th Street, or if you live along that area, you need to be wary of this, because this is going to make your life a living hell in Midtown. So here's what we know. After being tied up in litigation for more than 3 months, New York City and MTA's plan to turn 14th Street into a busway is being ready to roll today. So pretty much, they were starting to test it on Thursday, but the full enforcement is actually starting today, October 7th, which is Monday. So once again, they mentioned the devil herself, Patty Trottenberg, the commissioner of the New York City Department of Transportation, claims that she felt that the 18-month pilot program would go smoothly. It could even be a preview of how traffic patterns shift when congestion pricing comes to Manhattan. Patty Trottenberg said on Wednesday, "This is a little bit of a trial of what might see when we implement congestion pricing here in New York City." So again, I know congestion pricing's coming. There's no way to stop it. I mean, Governor Cuomo signed, sealed, delivered on it. He kept his promise. I'll give the guy kudos for that. And again, I'm going to say this again. I am sick and tired of seeing all the dumb traffic in Manhattan. But that doesn't mean that you can just tell cars to get off the road on a major thoroughfare that links up Midtown Manhattan. So again, this is going to cause congestion on Canal Street, 23rd Street, 34th Street, 42nd Street, 57th Street, you name it, all those crosstown streets. You're going to see a lot more traffic now because of this. So again, this woman has no clue about moving traffic. Here's what it says. Only buses and trucks will be able to make through trips between 9th and 3rd Avenues between 6 a.m. and 10 p.m. Monday through Friday in an attempt to speed up bus service that began on Thursday, October 2nd. Automated enforcement, Second was Tuesday, so the 3rd. Yeah, it was the 3rd. Do apologize. All right, automated enforcement cameras are being placed on the buses and at each street corner, and the NYPD will have traffic agents on officers out in force. Through summonses won't start until after a 60-day grace period. So, I don't know how this is going to work for the M14 or the M15, but again, it's just dumb. It's just really dumb how they think that this is going to work out. It's not going to work out in the end. I really don't think that this bus lane is the solution here. Again, I know congestion pricing is one thing, and I get that. But you can't just tell cars to get off the road. I mean, that's the most dumbest thing that you could ask motorists to do. Oh, hi there. Are you in a Toyota Camry? Sorry, you can't put your car here because you're a Toyota Camry and you're not an Isuzu box truck that has graffiti on it, or you're not a bus and you can't be on the street. So once again, hypocrisy at its finest. I'm annoyed. I'm sure many other people, especially in Midtown, I'm sure they're annoyed too, and I can't blame them. And especially when I told my dad about this, because again, I think I've mentioned it to you guys on this channel, that my dad used to be a limo driver for, I think, 20 plus years, and he used to be a taxi driver before that. So he was in transportation for a long time. And when I told him about this, he literally was saying, "Are you kidding me?" Like, my dad was shaking his head wondering why would they even put a bus lane by Union Square. Like, my dad was literally wondering how idiotic this idea is. So coming from my dad and coming from me and coming from many other advocates, we find that this is stupid and completely idiotic. And again, I'm going to continue to expose this corruption from the Department of Transportation, because this is de Blasio's plan to ruin the outer boroughs. And once again, this is what the plan is. If you're not in Park Slope, if you're not in Kensington, which, by the way, I'll mention Kensington because somebody told me that Kensington's getting preferential treatment too. And if you're not in Lower Manhattan, you don't matter. Pretty much, Bill de Blasio can give he just doesn't care about Midtown Manhattan. That's the way he views things. So again, I'm going to 14th Street in November. I'm going to Ridgewood later this month. I'm going to expose this corruption for you all because somebody has to do it. I am going to be the voice of reason for you all here. I'm looking out for you guys. Cars should get equal treatment, just like the buses, just like the subways. And by the way, I'll mention something that awful that happened in Brooklyn. Another bicyclist got killed this weekend. It's like 25 people who ride their bikes this year were killed. And I also mentioned that I just saw a guy on his bike on Francis Lewis Boulevard. So you tell me how they don't care. And I know bike lanes are one thing, but it should be a rule. Ride your bike on the sidewalk. Don't ride it on the side of the road. Because at least if you knock down a pedestrian, all right, fine, maybe a lawsuit will happen. I don't know. But if you ride your bike on the side of the road, I find that completely idiotic. I mean, I'm okay if you want to take your bike on the sidewalk. It's whatever, but still. My point is, we're facing the worst transportation crisis in the city of New York's history. This is unprecedented. We've never seen anything like this before. And again, another reason why that, not just our incompetent government, and I also mentioned that this weekend, somebody exposed Nice Bus, that they weren't cross-honoring on the N24 when they were supposed to. One of the bus drivers for Nice Bus was on a cell phone making stops every few minutes, just to talk on a cell phone. Also keeping in mind, New York State is the third most populated state in the Union. Texas is 2, and California is 1. So you have too many people in the state of New York, which makes it another big problem. And you have too many people in one area, especially how, again, we've normally had 6 to 8 million people live in the 5 boroughs of New York City. Then that creates another issue on another end. So the fight's going to continue. The corruption must get exposed. And remember, folks, we must do our jobs in 2021. The future depends on it. Because if we don't vote the right way in 2021, you're going to see a lot more people leave the state of New York. So I think with that, I'm going to get going. I'm almost at Dollar Tree. Again, I have to take care of some errands, so I had a little bit of time to record this video. So I think with that, sorry for the ranting, but hey, this is just my reaction to how I feel about how Midtown's getting screwed with this bus lane. So thank you all for watching. And until the next one, please take care.